had a happy marriage for 33 years. One of the reasons is that this is what we're doing.
Yeah, that's right.
And I grew up with divorce. I remember as a child, my only brother feels that we would talk about this when we were kids, like, fuck adults, like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Having kids and then getting divorced so you can go find yourself in France. Fuck you.
I knew people in my parents' generation, there were so many people like that. So many people I know. And totally fucked up the kids and did it because like I gotta be happy, as if somehow that's a noble thing of like, I gotta be happy.
Well,
like,
but they never turned out happy.
No, because the key to real happiness, I mean, there's different ways to measure happiness or like whatever. Again, like, there's someone training for a marathon and there's someone sitting having a bag of potato chips. And in the moment, the guy having the bag of potato chips might be happier than the guy training for the marathon. But like, ultimately, who's going to feel better about themselves is going to be, you know what I mean? So like, there's, but you have
how do you want to die?
You have obligations and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And if you don't fulfill those, you're not going to find long-term
But also
happiness.
take the long view. Like, the neighborhood I grew up in had all kinds of rich divorced moms, and every one of them was crazy and unhappy. Every single one of them. And you wonder where I've thought in the years since, like, where are they now? You know what I mean? Living in some condo in Scottsdale with Parkinson's, unvisited by their kids. Like, you'd get old and die in the end. And when you do, I really hope I'm surrounded by all my girls and my son, and like, oh, he was such a good guy. Like,
yeah, that's all that matters. Really.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they like talk about you at dinner when you're gone. Oh, I miss him. You don't want people. I've seen people die who mistreated their children. I've lived it, actually. And it's like, fuck that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't want that.
And also, look, I mean, that kind of the absence of having that feeling, or the baby boomers kind of not feeling that way. It's kind of like, I mean, look what it's led to. I mean, I know. It's very easy for say popular conservative, pundits to kind of dunk on college kids and stuff like that, which is like fun. And I've enjoyed videos of where, like Ben Shapiro's like destroying 19-year-old in some college campus. And, it's like, she's like, some trans kid or something like that, and is like, well, I was born a boy, but why can't I live as a woman? And he's like, why can't you live as a cat? And everyone's like, and it's like, the intellectual prowess of destroying this kid. And like, yes, okay, that is stupid. That kid was an idiot. But you also kind of like peel a little bit deeper, and you're like, so what was this kid's situation really? Because you're talking to a 19-year-old, you know what I mean? And let me guess, came from a broken home.
I'm trying not to pound the table here, because I agree with you so strongly.
Was medicated, I bet, like as a young kid.
And is staring down the barrel of a grim life.
Yes, has no conceivable path toward like independence and
toward what you have and what you grew up with.
That's all that really matters.
And you're in charge of the society, by the way. You're in charge of the society. You have influence in the society. You're in the privileged class. And there's no shame in that, by the way.
Yes.
But it does carry with it the obligation to see that the next generation has a decent shot. And you haven't done that. You've wasted it all on foreign adventurism and your stupid economic ideas. And this is the result. And you will take no responsibility for it. It's like, stupid kids. No, your job is to create another generation of smart kids.
And then they
wise kids.
And they mock them. They're like, oh, well, maybe if you didn't have your avocado toast and your lattes, then you'd be able to buy a house or something. And you're like, look, okay, it is true.
You're making me mad. Well, I totally agree.
It's true that this generation is in many ways softer and more privileged. And part of that's because they grew up with technological wealth that previous generations never had. It's also partly because their parents never instilled like values in them to care about kind of more than just avocado toast. But the fact is that baby boomers could go to college and get a summer job and pay for their college. Okay. And then if they didn't go to college, they could go to high school and then go wait online and get a job where you could support a wife and kids off of that job. This is my and that was the way of the world previously, that my grandfather worked in factories his whole life and his wife didn't work. And that was that. And he owned a house. He sent kids to college. He had 2 cars. Like, they had a nice life. And these kids today come out with 6 figures of debt and are getting a job at, Starbucks, and houses are going for like $600,000 for, you know what I mean? For that same humble house that my grandfather had. And the baby boomers all got rich by the value of their house just going up.
Couldn't agree more.
And it seems like not a one of them ever went, hey, but aren't we kind of like pulling up the ladder on the helicopter here? Like if my house is like skyrocketing in value, that's nice for me. I got a HELOC and I got like some money coming in now that I can invest in the market that's going up and make this income coming in. But what about the next generation? How are they ever going to buy a house?
They don't care.
And like no one seemed to care about that.
They don't care. And I'm trying not to interrupt your wonderful description with amens and hosannas, but I so strongly agree with what you're saying. And I have a bunch of kids. They're all actually thriving, I would say, inside. They're all good people, clear thinking. They love each other, most important. But I'm around a lot of college-age kids, like a lot, like way more than most people my age. I'm 54, and I don't think they're soft at all. I'm not talking my kids. I mean, their friends or, I'm around it a lot. They're hard-edged, actually.
Right.
They know how, they may be wrong. They may be confused, but they're actually pretty tough in a way, and they're pretty angry, and they sort of get what's going on, and I have deep sympathy for them. Deep. They've been completely screwed over by the people in charge. They don't have any power. Even if you're a 19-year-old Columbia kid, like I may not agree with your slogans or down with white people, whatever. Of course, I hate that. I'm a white person, but right. I do sort of like think, whose fault is that? It's the people who run everything. It's your stupid boomer parents.
Yep.
It's the administrators at the school. It's our politicians. I mean, I'm sorry to blame society for the crimes of young people, but actually society does deserve the blame, and the leaders of the society deserve the blame.